Episode 27 this week, Operation Annihilate is the episode. This one, final episode of Season 1 for sure this time. Wrapping up the season, the Enterprise was on a path to Deneva, a colony planet. Apparently there was a distress call. They stopped transmitting it. Then out of the blue, they got a transmission from Captain Kirk's sister-in-law, crying for help. Captain Kirk recognized it. The transmission cuts off. Kirk tells Uhura to get her back on there, and Uhura tells the captain that it's impossible. Captain Kirk yells at poor Lieutenant Uhura, tells her he doesn't want her excuses, so Uhura dresses him down something fierce. Tells the captain it's on their end, they stop the transmission, they won't respond to anything. Nothing I can do from there. She just told Captain right off. Told him right off on the bridge. Shut him right down. If they get to the planet, they beam down. There's supposed to be 1 million inhabitants. They don't see anyone around. And just as they say, we wonder where all the people are, a bunch of people come running out with clubs. And they're warning the away team, hey, we don't want to hurt you. You're going to get hurt. Go back to your ship. And then they come running after him with the clubs. So they're like, well, let's fire when they get 2 inches from us. And then pause so they can be shot. And that's what they did. They didn't take a swing or anything. They just stood there, stopped, posed with a club, and waited for the phaser fire. And they were like, that was really strange, and it was. Then they find the survivors of the planet. It was Kirk's sister-in-law and his nephew, Captain Kirk's brother, laying there dead on the floor. They never once checked him. Didn't check for a pulse, nothing. They just turned him around and said, oh, he's dead. Left him there. That was the end of Captain Kirk's brother. The sister-in-law and the mother-in-law, they beamed up to the ship. The sister-in-law played the pronoun game. She's like, they were here. They wanted the ship. They wanted to move on to the other planets. Don't let them win. Kirk's like, who? Who are we discussing here? She wouldn't say, just play the pronoun game. The pain became intense. She ended up not surviving. Kirk's nephew, who never had a line in the entire episode, the only other survivor of his family apparently. Or at least they led you to believe that. So it was just Kirk and his nephew, who wasn't in very good shape. They go back down to the planet, and they find these big silicon-looking frisbee things that were flying around underneath the buildings. They fired phasers at them. They started dropping. Kirk's like, it could be a trap. Let's get out of here. As they're running away, one of them flew straight up and then went after Mr. Spock and landed on him. He went down screaming. Captain Kirk ran over and said, I have no idea what this thing is or what it can do to me, but let me get my arm underneath it and start pulling. And so he did. Didn't hurt him a bit. Didn't faze Captain Kirk, but it was killing Mr. Spock. No reasons. No reasons. And then Mr. Spock had to go back to the Enterprise. He was in incredible pain. They didn't know if he would pull through or not. McCoy, not sure of much. Not sure of much. They did all kinds of testing and scans and so forth. Mr. Spock eventually declared himself fit for duty. Said he was fine. They were like, but you're not. And he's like, sure I am. I'm Vulcan. Then he tried to take control of the ship. They had to fight him on the bridge. Second time in the last few episodes, Mr. Spock tried to battle the captain in a fisticuffs match. Tried to knock him out with the Vulcan nerve pinch. Didn't work. They finally got him under control. Spock recovered. They discovered that the flying silicon frisbee things were actually brain cells to some sort of gigantic flying creature that went from planet to planet, causing extreme madness. Presumably from the pain, but they never specified exactly. Then they discovered, after a lot of testing that failed, that the things were susceptible to light. So Mr. Spock was like, well, logically, flash a bunch of blinding light in my eyes because we have to duplicate the exact conditions on the planet in order to save all the million inhabitants. They were like, well, you're right, so we'll just do that. They do it. Mr. Spock goes blind. And 2 seconds later, here comes Nurse Chapel, like, here's the results of the test you wanted. Yeah. And Dr. McCoy's like, oops, didn't need that blinding light. We could have just done it with light that wouldn't have blinded Spock if we waited 5 seconds, but we didn't. Why he didn't wait the 5 seconds, never explained. Mr. Spock was like, oh well. Oh well. So they set up all the sensors to beam down the proper light. Everyone's fine. Mr. Spock comes walking on the bridge, and they're like, hey, you can see. And he's like, oh yeah, I forgot I had extra set of eyelids because I'm Vulcan. They saved me from being blind. They didn't explain why he was blind in the first place, nor did they explain how the damage was reversed. They just threw out, oh yeah, extra set of eyelids. No reason given to what they did. They just extra eyelids. Then he's like, yeah, it's like your appendix. And that was it. That was pretty much the episode. Some interesting facts in this. Only time we saw Kirk's nephew. Some of the books he would be used as a character, but never again in any of the series or the movies did they reference Kirk's nephew. Only time we saw his sister-in-law and brother, obviously, since they were killed off right away. Uhura, like I said, telling off Kirk. I don't know if that was some of Nichelle Nichols, the actress, telling off Bill Shatner, the actor. They did have some quarrels over some of the issues on the show at this point in time. Bill Shatner would cut lines that Uhura had, which affected her pay. So that might have been some like actual animosity coming through instead of just strictly acting. We don't know. All the regulars were on the episode. Scotty, Uhura, Sulu, Dr. McCoy, Spock, Kirk, all of them there. So next week we'll pick up with the first episode of the second season, Amok Time. One of the classic ones. First look at planet Vulcan. So pretty much